The huge palace on the throne world of Zarian glowed with purple light. Inside the main hall, Galactic Emperor Valthor sat on his tall black throne. His skin was gray and shiny, like metal. His eyes were narrow and yellow. He ruled over thousands of worlds in the Zarian dominion. For many years, his fleets had taken planets from other species. Most aliens learned to obey quickly, but humans were different. Humans came from one small blue planet called Earth. They spread fast to many stars. They built ships that moved quick. They fought hard when pushed. Emperor Valthor hated that. He wanted every species to bow low and stay quiet. Humans did not bow. They answered attacks with stronger attacks. They talked about freedom. They laughed at threats. This made the emperor angry. One day his advisors came to him. They wore long red robes. Their voices were low and careful. "Your Majesty," one said, "the human colonies on the edge of our space still refuse tribute. They hide their ships. They send messages that mock our power." Valthor leaned forward. His long fingers tapped the arm of the throne. "Then we must teach them fear," he said. "Fear is the only language all creatures understand." The advisors looked at each other. One spoke again. "We have captured many humans from the frontier worlds. Among them are thousands of children. They were taken from schools and homes when we burned the settlements." Valthor's yellow eyes brightened. "Children," he repeated slowly. "Yes, that is perfect. Adults can be brave for themselves, but when parents see their young ones die, even the strongest break." He stood up. His robe fell around him like dark water. "Take the children to Epsilon Prime. It is a world we control fully. Set up cameras on every angle. Broadcast the event live to every corner of the galaxy. Let every species watch. Let the humans see what happens when they disobey." The advisors bowed and left quickly. Weeks later, the preparations were done. Epsilon Prime was a dry red planet with flat plains. The Saurian built a large open area there. They put up metal fences in a big circle. Inside the circle they placed rows of small platforms. On each platform stood a human child. There were 5,731 of them. The youngest were only 3 years old. The oldest were 16. They wore simple gray clothes. Their hands were tied behind their backs with tight energy cuffs. Many cried. Some stood silent with wide, frightened eyes. Above the plane hovered hundreds of recording drones. They sent pictures and sound to every Saurian ship, every allied world, every screen in known space. The broadcast began with the Emperor's voice. "People of the galaxy," he said calmly, "today you witness justice. These humans refuse to serve the Dominion. Their defiance ends here. Let this be a lesson. Resistance brings only pain." On Earth, the transmission arrived without warning. Families gathered in homes and public squares. They saw their sons and daughters on the screens. Mothers fell to the floor screaming. Fathers stood frozen, faces white. Children pointed at brothers and sisters and shouted their names. The whole planet watched in horror. Back on Epsilon Prime, the execution started. Large drones floated down from the sky. Each drone had 4 long arms. Each arm ended in a sharp energy blade that glowed blue. The blades made a soft humming sound. The first row of children stepped forward on command. They were forced by guard robots with electric prods. A 7-year-old girl named Lily Thompson looked up at the sky. Tears ran down her cheeks. She whispered, "Mommy, I'm sorry." The drone above her moved fast. The blade came down once. Lily fell. The crowd of children screamed louder. One by one the drones worked. They did not rush. They moved with cold precision. A boy named Noah Garcia, only 5. A robot grabbed him and held him still. The blade flashed. Noah stopped moving. In the front row stood 2 siblings. Sophie Carter was 9. Her brother Ethan was 11. They held hands until the guards pulled them apart. Sophie looked at Ethan with big, scared eyes. "Ethan, don't leave me," she said. "I won't," he answered. "We stay together." But the drones separated them. Ethan was taken first. He shouted back to Sophie, "Be strong. Mom and Dad will come." The blade took him. Sophie screamed his name over and over. Then her turn came. She closed her eyes tight. The humming blade ended her cries. The killing went on for hours. The red dirt turned darker with blood. The air smelled of burned metal and fear. Some children tried to sing songs their parents taught them. The songs died quickly. Others prayed. Others just stood quiet and waited. On his throne world, Emperor Valthor watched every moment. He sipped a drink from a crystal cup. His face showed no feeling. When the last child fell, he nodded once. "It is finished," he said to his advisors. "Now the humans will learn." He sent a new message across the galaxy. "Let this image burn into every mind." 5,731 lives ended because of human pride. If Earth and its colonies resist again, the number will grow. Adults, cities, whole worlds. Choose wisdom, choose obedience. The broadcast ended. Screens went black. Silence fell over human space. No ships launched from Earth. No angry messages came. No fleets gathered. The Zarian scouts reported that human shipyards were quiet. No weapons tests. No movement. Emperor Valthor smiled for the first time in years. "They are broken," he told his court. "The fire in them is gone. We have won." He leaned back on his throne and closed his eyes. He pictured a galaxy where every species knelt without question. A galaxy finally at peace under his rule. But far away on Earth, in underground rooms, people worked. Admiral Daniel Hayes looked at maps with hard eyes. Engineer Laura Bennett checked numbers on screens. Dr. Kevin Morales studied data from old battles. Parents of the lost children sat together in dark rooms. They did not cry anymore. Their tears had dried. In their place came something colder, something patient. The galaxy thought the humans had given up. They were wrong. The silence was not surrender. Weeks turned into months. The galaxy watched Earth and its colonies. Everyone expected something big. A fleet of angry ships, loud messages full of threats, maybe even begging for peace. But nothing came. Emperor Valthor sat in his throne room every day. He looked at screens that showed human space. The screens stayed quiet. No new warships left the shipyards. No soldiers marched on the streets of Earth's cities. The human news channels talked about normal things: weather, sports, food prices. They did not mention the 5,731 children at all. It was like the event never happened. Valthor smiled more each day. He walked through his palace halls with his advisors. His voice was loud and happy. "See," he said, "they are finished. The humans have learned their place. One strong act was enough. Now they hide and pretend everything is fine." His advisors nodded. They wrote reports that said the same thing. Human morale was low. Production in factories had dropped a little. Some colonies even sent small tribute payments without being asked. The emperor read these reports and felt proud. He gave parties in the palace. Alien nobles came from far worlds. They drank strong drinks and laughed about the weak humans. One guest, a tall creature with green scales, raised his glass. "To Emperor Valthor," he said, "the one who tamed the untamable." Everyone cheered. Valthor stood and spoke to the room. "The children were a necessary price," he said. "Sometimes you must cut deep to stop the bleeding. Now the wound is closed. Humanity will not rise again." The party went late into the night. Music played, lights flashed in many colors. No one noticed the small things that were changing far away. On Earth, the nights were different. In deep underground bunkers, people worked without stopping. The bunkers had thick walls of concrete and steel. Lights burned bright 24 hours a day. Air came through hidden filters. Admiral Daniel Hayes stood in the main command room. He was tall, with short gray hair. His eyes looked tired but sharp. He stared at a big wall screen that showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Zarian bases. Blue dots showed human worlds. He pointed to a group of red dots near the border. "We need more time," he said to the officers around him. "They must think we are broken." A woman named Laura Bennett stood next to him. She was an engineer with short brown hair and strong hands. She carried a tablet full of numbers and drawings. "The new drives are almost ready," she said. "We tested one last week. It jumps farther and quieter than anything they have, but we need thousands more." Daniel nodded. "Keep building. No leaks, no tests in open space. Everything stays hidden." In another room, Dr. Kevin Morales worked with a team of scientists. The room was full of screens and machines that hummed softly. Kevin was thin with glasses. He never smiled anymore. His daughter had been on Epsilon Prime. She was 8. Her name was Mia. Kevin looked at data from the execution broadcast. He studied every frame. Not to feel pain. He already carried that every day. But to learn. He wanted to know exactly how the drones moved. How fast the blades cut. How the energy fields worked. Every detail went into new designs. One night he spoke to a young assistant. "They think silence means weakness," Kevin said. "But silence can be a weapon too. We use it to breathe, to think, to build." The assistant nodded. "And when we speak?" Kevin's voice was quiet. "Then the galaxy will never forget what we say." In small towns and big cities, parents met in secret groups. They did not cry in public anymore. Their eyes were dry and hard. A mother named Amanda Torres lost her son named Lucas. She used to bake cookies for his friends. Now she learned to fly small attack ships in simulators. She practiced until her hands shook. A father named Christopher Ruiz lost 2 daughters. He was a mechanic before. Now he helped build weapons in hidden factories. He worked with metal and code. Every piece he made carried the names of his girls scratched into the surface where no one else could see. Across the colonies the same thing happened. People who used to argue about politics now worked together. Scientists shared ideas freely. Soldiers trained harder. Engineers built faster. No one spoke of revenge in loud voices. They spoke in low tones about the project or the plan. Everyone knew what it meant. Zarian scouts came close sometimes. Small, fast ships slipped into human space to watch. They saw factories that looked half empty. They saw ships in dry docks with no crews. They sent reports back that said humans were weak and scared. But the scouts never saw the real shipyards. Those were deep inside hollow asteroids or under the ice of distant moons. They never saw the new weapons tested in empty space, far from any star. They never heard the quiet conversations in bunkers. One scout ship got too close to a hidden base. A single human drone appeared from nowhere. It did not attack with guns. It sent a pulse that fried the scout systems. The ship drifted dead until a Zarian rescue team found it. The crew was alive but shaken. They said the drone looked old and simple, like junk, but it moved like it knew exactly what to do. Emperor Valthor heard these stories. He laughed. "Desperate tricks," he said. "They throw away toys to scare us. Pathetic." He ordered more patrols. He sent more spies. He felt safe on his throne world. Guards stood everywhere. Shields covered the sky. Nothing could touch him. Months passed. The silence from Earth grew heavier. Some alien species started to whisper. They said maybe the humans were planning something big. Others said no. The children's deaths had killed the fight in them. Valthor ignored the whispers. He planned new taxes on human colonies. He drew maps for more conquests. He slept well at night. On Earth, a new message was prepared. Not many people knew about it. Only a few at the top. Admiral Hayes approved it. Laura Bennett checked the code. Kevin Morales made sure it could not be traced. The message was simple. One word. They sent it through every channel they could reach. It slipped past Zarian firewalls like smoke. It appeared on screens in the Imperial Palace. It showed on private devices of the Emperor's advisors. It even flashed for 1 second on Valthor's throne display. One word in white letters on black. Soon. Valthor stared at it. Then he laughed again. A child's threat, he said. Let them dream. But in the quiet of his room that night he looked at the word again. He felt something small move in his chest. Not fear. Not yet. Just a question. What if? He pushed the thought away. He turned off the screen. He went to bed. Outside the palace, the stars stayed silent. On Earth, the bunkers stayed busy. The waiting continued. But the waiting was almost over. The imperial palace on the throne world never slept. Lights always burned. Guards walked the halls in perfect lines. Screens showed reports from every corner of the Dominion. Emperor Valthor liked it that way. Order, control, no surprises. One quiet evening he sat alone in the private viewing chamber. The room was round with black walls. In the center floated a large crystal sphere. It showed live pictures from his favorite worlds. He watched cities bow to his statues, fleets drill in formation. Everything looked perfect. Then the sphere flickered. A black screen replaced the pictures. White letters appeared in the middle. One word. Soon. The word stayed for 3 seconds. Then it vanished. The sphere went back to normal. Valthor stared at it. He blinked. He touched the controls. Nothing changed. The word was gone. He laughed. The sound echoed in the empty room. A trick, he said out loud. Some weak human hacker playing games. He stood up and walked to the door. 2 guards snapped to attention. He waved them away and went to the main command hall. His top advisors waited there. 5 of them, tall, thin, dressed in dark red. They bowed low when he entered. Something strange happened, Valthor said. A message on my private screen. One word. The advisors looked at each other. One named Krell spoke first. We saw it too, Your Majesty. It appeared on every screen in the palace at the same time, even the ones in locked rooms. Valthor frowned. How? Another advisor, Lyra, stepped forward. She held a datapad. Our best technicians cannot trace it. The signal had no origin point. It came through every relay at once. It used none of the normal paths. Valthor's yellow eyes narrowed. Impossible, he said. Nothing bypasses our systems. Lyra looked down, and yet it did. Silence filled the room. Valthor turned to the big wall screen. He ordered it on. It showed the border zones between Dominion and human space. Send scouts, he said. 10 ships, fast ones. Find out what the humans are doing. The order went out. The scouts left within the hour. Days passed. Reports came back slowly at first, then faster, then not at all. The first scout returned alone. Its hull was dark and cold. No lights, no engines. The crew was alive but silent. They sat in their seats staring straight ahead. When asked questions, they only repeated one word. Soon. Doctors examined them. Nothing wrong with their bodies, but their minds were locked. They would not speak of anything else. The second scout never came back. Its last message said it saw a shadow move in deep space. Then nothing. The third scout sent pictures before it died. The pictures showed human ships, not the old ones with bright hulls and big guns. These were black, smooth, small. They moved like fish in water. One picture caught a human ship turning fast and vanishing. No flash, no trail, just gone. Valthor watched the pictures again and again. His hands closed into fists. New ships, he said. They built new ships in secret. Krell spoke carefully. Our spies said their yards were quiet, empty. Then the spies lied, Valthor snapped, or they were fooled. He ordered more patrols. Bigger fleets moved to the border. Nothing came. But small things started to happen. On a mining world called Torva 9, a Zarian garrison went quiet. No messages, no signals. A rescue team found the base empty. Weapons on the floor, food half-eaten, chairs pushed back like people left in a hurry. No bodies, no blood, just silence. On another world, a supply station vanished from sensors for 1 hour. When it came back online, the computer showed new files. One file was video. It showed 5,731 names, listed in neat rows. Under each name was a date, the date of death on Epsilon Prime. At the bottom, one line in white text. Soon. The file deleted itself when anyone tried to copy it. Emperor Valthor stopped sleeping well. He walked the palace at night. Guards followed at a distance. He talked to himself. "They want to scare me," he said. "They think words can hurt." But the word kept appearing. On personal screens, on ship controls, on public boards in alien cities. Always the same, always at random times. He called his court together. Hundreds of nobles filled the great hall. They wore bright clothes and expensive jewels. Valthor stood on the high platform. "Humans send childish messages," he told them. "They hide because they are weak. We will crush them soon." The nobles clapped, but the claps sounded thin. Some looked at each other with worried eyes. After the speech, Valthor went back to his private rooms. He sat in the dark. A small screen on his desk lit up by itself. The word appeared again. Soon. This time a second line came under it. "Count the days." Valthor slammed his fist on the desk. The screen cracked, but the words stayed. He shouted for technicians. They ran in. They worked for hours. They replaced the screen. They checked every wire. The word did not come back that night. But it came the next night. And the next. On Earth, the work never stopped. Admiral Daniel Hayes stood in the main bunker. Maps covered the walls. Numbers changed every minute. Laura Bennett entered with a report. "The relays are holding," she said. "The message got through every time." Daniel nodded. "Good. Keep the pattern random. Never the same time twice." In another room, Kevin Morales watched a simulation. Lines of code moved across the screen like rivers. He adjusted one number. The simulation showed a Zarian fleet disappearing in seconds. He leaned back. His voice was calm. "Soon," he whispered to the empty room. Captain Amanda Torres trained pilots in a hidden hangar. The ships were new, black, fast. She walked between them. She touched the hull of one. "For Lucas," she said quietly. The pilot next to her nodded. "For all of them." On distant moons, Christopher Ruiz tested weapons. Big guns that fired silent beams. Small drones that moved in swarms. He watched one test. A rock the size of a house turned to dust in 2 seconds. He smiled for the first time in months. Back in the palace, Valthor grew thin. His gray skin looked dull. His advisors spoke in low voices when he was not near. One night he stood at a high window. He looked at the stars. "They are coming," he said to no one. He did not laugh anymore. The galaxy started to notice. Alien traders whispered in ports. Some canceled deals with the Dominion. Others moved ships away from the border. A rumor spread. The humans were not broken. They were waiting. And they were counting. On a quiet morning, the word appeared again. This time on every screen in the palace at once. The same white letters. Soon. Under it, a new line. Very soon. Valthor stared at the words. His hands shook a little. He turned to his guards. "Double the shields," he said. "Triple the guards. Prepare my personal ship." The guards bowed and left. He sat down on his throne alone. For the first time he felt small. Outside the palace, the stars waited. On Earth, the final pieces clicked into place. The waiting was ending. The first sign came at dawn on the throne world. The sky shields glowed bright purple every morning. That day the purple light flickered once, then twice. Then it went dark for 3 full seconds. Guards in the palace looked up. They whispered to each other. The Emperor's personal alarm sounded soft and low. Valthor woke in his bed. He sat up fast. His heart beat hard. Outside the palace, a single black ship appeared in orbit. It was small, no bigger than a transport shuttle. It did not announce itself. It did not fire weapons. It simply sat there. Sensors could not lock on it. Scans showed nothing. Then it vanished, gone in one blink. Minutes later, the same thing happened above 3 border worlds at once. Small black ships, silent, still, then gone. Valthor ran to the command hall. Advisors waited with pale faces. Screens showed red alerts everywhere. "What is it?" Valthor demanded. Krell answered first. "Human ships, Your Majesty. New design. They appear and disappear. Our weapons cannot track them." Valthor slammed his hand on the table. "Then fire everything. Destroy them." Orders went out. Fleets moved. Big cruisers turned toward the shadows where the black ships had been. Guns charged. Missiles launched in waves. Nothing hit. The black ships were already gone, but something else arrived. From empty space came lines of light. Thin, blue, silent. They passed through Zarian shields like they were not there. One line touched an orbital fortress above Torva 9. The fortress glowed white for a second. Then it broke apart. Pieces floated away, slow and quiet. No explosion, no sound. Just gone. The same thing happened on 5 other worlds. Fortresses crumbled. Defense platforms turned to dust. Entire squadrons of Zarian fighters vanished mid-flight. The next moment, empty space. Valthor watched it all on the big screens. His mouth opened, but no words came. On the ground, things moved faster. Human soldiers landed on Zarian-held planets. They did not come in big noisy dropships. They came in small pods that fell like rain. The pods opened on impact. Soldiers stepped out in black armor. The armor had no bright colors, no flags. Only small white names scratched on the chest plates. Names of children. Captain Amanda Torres led the first wave on a mining colony called Dracon 4. She stepped out of her pod. Dust rose around her boots. Zarian guards ran toward her, with rifles raised. She did not run. She raised one hand. A small device on her wrist flashed. Invisible waves rolled out. The guards' rifles stopped working. Their armor locked. They fell to their knees, unable to move. Amanda walked past them. Her team followed. They moved room to room. They cleared buildings. They left guards alive, but helpless. Tied. Marked with white paint. One word on each chest plate. Soon. They did not kill unless forced, but they took every weapon, every ship, every communication device. Bases went dark one by one. On another world, Christopher Ruiz led a strike on a command center. He carried a heavy tool bag. Inside were small black boxes. He placed them on the walls. The boxes hummed once. Then the whole building lost power. Lights died. Doors locked open. Computers wiped clean. Zarian officers ran in circles. Ruiz and his team moved through the dark with night vision. They tied the officers. They left one message on the main screen before they left. Count the days. Back in space, the Black Fleet grew bolder. They did not fight like normal fleets. They did not line up for big battles. They appeared behind enemy lines. They cut supply ships in half with clean beams. They disabled engines on battleships, alive. Watching. One Zarian admiral sent a desperate message to the throne world. "They are not fighting to win," he said. "They are punishing. Every move we make costs us more. We cannot stop them." Valthor listened to the message. His hands shook. "Bring the home fleet," he ordered. "All of it. Surround the palace. Nothing gets through." The home fleet arrived. Hundreds of ships. The biggest ones. They formed a wall around the throne world. Shields overlapped. Guns pointed outward. The sky looked solid metal. For one day it held. Then night came. Small black shapes slipped through gaps too small for normal ships. They moved like shadows. Inside the shield wall they opened fire. Not big blasts, small precise hits. One engine here, one shield generator there. The big ships started to drift. Some fired at each other by mistake in the confusion. Valthor watched from his tower. He saw his mighty fleet break apart piece by piece. He turned to his advisors. Call for peace, he said. Send the message now. Krell hesitated. Your Majesty, they have not asked for talks. Send it anyway, Valthor shouted. The message went out on every channel. The Dominion offers terms, ceasefire, negotiate. No answer came. Instead, another black ship appeared directly above the palace. It hovered, still. Then it dropped something, a single small pod. The pod fell slow. It landed soft in the palace garden. The doors opened. A human soldier stepped out, tall, calm, armor black. On the chestplate, one name in white. Brooks. Jason Brooks walked toward the palace doors. Guards raised weapons. He did not stop. He raised one hand. The weapons clicked useless. The guards fell to the ground, frozen. He walked inside. Hall after hall. Guards tried to stop him. None could move. He reached the throne room doors. They exploded inward, with no sound. Smoke filled the air. Valthor stood on the high platform. His guards lay broken around him. He looked small now, thin, afraid. Jason stopped 10 steps away. He carried a small data slate. No gun, no blade. Valthor's voice cracked. Why? Jason looked at him. His face showed no anger, only calm, certainty. You took 5,731 children, he said. You showed the galaxy your power. Now we show ours. He pressed something on the slate. Every screen in the palace lit up. Every screen in the Dominion. Names appeared. 5,731 names. Each name had a face. A short video clip. A child smiling, laughing, playing. Then the date, the place. Epsilon Prime. The clips played together. Soft voices filled the air. Parents reading the names. Some cried as they spoke. Some spoke strong and clear. Valthor fell to his knees. Stop this, he whispered. Jason looked down at him. We stopped nothing, he said. You started it. We finish it. He turned and walked out. The doors closed behind him. Outside the palace, the black ships waited. The home fleet drifted broken. The throne world shields flickered and died. In bunkers on Earth, people watched the feeds. Admiral Daniel Hayes nodded once. Laura Bennett closed her eyes for a moment. Kevin Morales whispered his daughter's name. The reckoning had begun. Planets fell quiet one by one. Garrisons vanished. Fleets turned to scrap. The Dominion learned what humans did when pushed too far. They did not rage. They worked. They planned. They finished. And the galaxy watched in silence. The throne room smelled of smoke and hot metal. Broken glass covered the floor. Guards lay still where they had fallen. Their weapons were useless. Emperor Valthor stood alone on the high platform. His crown sat crooked on his head. His long robe dragged in the dust. His yellow eyes looked small and tired. Jason Brooks walked through the open doors. His black armor made no sound. He carried only the small data slate. No gun, no knife. He stopped in the center of the room, 10 steps from the throne. Valthor tried to stand tall. His voice shook a little. You are the one who sent the word, he said. Jason nodded once. Yes. Why one word? Valthor asked. Why not threaten us? Why not demand something? Jason looked straight at him. His face stayed calm. Because words are cheap, he said. You used many words on Epsilon Prime. You spoke of justice. You spoke of lessons. You spoke of power. Then you killed our children. We decided actions would speak better. Valthor pointed a thin finger at him. You think you can destroy an empire with machines and tricks? We ruled thousands of worlds before your planet even had fire. Jason did not answer right away. He pressed a button on the slate. Every screen in the room lit up, not just in the palace, on every world still held by the Dominion. On every ship, on every station. The screen showed the same thing. A long list. 5,731 names. Each name had a small picture, a child smiling, playing, holding a toy, laughing with friends. Under each picture was a date, the date they died. Below that a short message from a parent, simple words. My daughter loved to draw flowers. My son wanted to be a pilot like his dad. Now the bed is empty. The voices played soft. Mothers, fathers, grandparents. Some voices broke. Some stayed strong. All of them spoke the name of their child, clear and slow. Valthor watched. His mouth opened. No sound came out. The list kept going, name after name, face after face. The room filled with quiet voices. They did not shout. They did not cry loud. They just spoke, one after another. Valthor stepped back. His legs hit the throne. He sat down hard. Stop it, he whispered. Jason shook his head. No, he said. You watched them die. You made the galaxy watch. Now you listen. The voices continued. The pictures stayed on the screens. Some children waved at the camera. Some blew kisses. One little boy held up a drawing of a starship. He smiled big and said, "For Daddy when he comes home." Valthor covered his ears. It did not help. The sound came from everywhere. Outside the palace, the black ships moved closer. They did not fire big guns. They sent small drones. The drones flew low over cities. They dropped tiny pods. The pods opened. Nanites came out. Gray dust that moved like living smoke. The nanites found Zarion machines. They ate metal. They turned weapons to powder. They turned ships to hollow shells. They did not touch people unless the people fought back. On other worlds, the same thing happened. Orbital stations broke apart slow, like ice melting. Ground bases went dark. Lights faded one by one. Communication towers fell silent. Admiral Daniel Hayes watched from the main bunker on Earth. He sat in a simple chair. His hands rested on the table. A screen showed green dots turning off across the map. Each dot was a Dominion base or ship. She checked numbers on her tablet. 80% complete, she said. The rest will finish in hours. Daniel nodded. No unnecessary deaths. We promise that. Laura looked at him. They will remember this forever. That is the point, Daniel said. In a quiet lab, Kevin Morales sat alone. He watched the same feeds. His daughter's picture was on every screen in the galaxy now. He touched the glass once. His finger stayed there a long time. Captain Amanda Torres flew her black ship high above a Zarian city. She saw people run in the streets. Not soldiers, normal people. Aliens who had lived under the Dominion for years. They looked up at the sky. Some raised their hands, not in fear, in hope. She spoke into her radio. Targets neutralized. Moving to next zone. Christopher Ruiz stood on the surface of a conquered moon. He watched a big Zarian cruiser fall slow from orbit. It did not explode. It just drifted down like a dead leaf. He turned to his team. Mark it done, he said. Back in the throne room, the voices stopped. The screens went black. Then one last message appeared in white letters. For the 5731. Jason looked at Valthor. You asked why one word, he said. The word was not for you. It was for us. A promise we made to each other, to the parents, to the families, to the children we could not save. Valthor stared at the floor. His shoulders shook. What happens now? He asked. Jason stepped closer. His voice stayed even. Now you reap what you sowed. He pressed the slate one more time. Across the Dominion, the final phase began. Silent, clean, complete. Self-replicating swarms moved from world to world. They took only machines, only weapons, only tools of war. Cities stayed standing. Homes stayed whole. People stayed alive. But the Dominion's power vanished. Fleets became floating scrap. Bases became empty shells. The empire that once ruled with fear now had nothing left to rule with. Valthor looked up at Jason. Will you kill me? He asked. Jason shook his head. No, he said. Death is too easy. You will live. You will see what happens when a species chooses not to kneel. You will see humans rebuild. You will see other worlds stand tall again. You will see the galaxy without your shadow. He turned to leave. Volthor reached out one hand. Wait, he said. Please. Jason stopped. He looked back. Volthor's voice was small. I thought it would break you. Jason answered quiet. It did not break us. It made us remember who we are. He walked out. The doors closed behind him with a soft sound. Volthor sat alone in the big room. The screen stayed dark. The voices were gone. Outside the palace the stars looked the same, but everything else had changed. On Earth people stepped out of bunkers. They looked at the sky. Some held pictures of their children. Some hugged each other. No one cheered loud. They just stood quiet. They breathed deep. The war was over. Not with fire, not with screams. With justice. With one word kept. With 5,731 names never forgotten. The galaxy turned. New stories began. Stories of humans who waited, who built, who struck back not for hate, but for memory. And somewhere on a ruined throne world, an old emperor sat in silence. He listened to the quiet. He understood too late. The one word he received had not been a threat. It had been the end.